is that Donald Trump has deployed 3 warships and 2,300 Marines in Iran. This is a massive escalatory move because guess what? This is exactly what happened in the Middle East 20 years ago. We claimed a threat of weapons of mass destruction that we need to launch a preemptive attack on, but then it turned into boots on the ground. The next thing we know, over 1 million people died, and we were there for 20 years. And this is coming after Donald Trump, not even 2 days ago, was saying that we're basically ready to pull out and we've already won, but now we're going boots on the ground again. So that's definitely an escalation. This is contradictory to things that we've heard in the Trump like it coming to an end. And also, guess what? Something else I wanted to go over is Donald Trump is trying to convince you that high gas prices are a good thing. And honestly, I don't blame him for trying to convince you that high gas prices are a good thing.
They're literally, you walk over from Iran to Qatar. You can walk it in 1 second. You go boom, boom, and now you're in Qatar.
This is Iran. This is Qatar. This is the Persian Gulf, which is 119 miles across. It's 160 feet deep. You can't walk across it. And that was the moron who's taking our troops to war.
She would get us into World War III because she is too grossly incompetent to do the job, and then all of your sons and daughters will end up getting a draft notice, the thing called a draft. Dad, what's this? Oh, congratulations, you've been drafted into the military. You're going to fight a war against a country that nobody's ever heard of.
Carol, I want to get your take about this idea of troops on the ground. Mothers out there are worried that we're going to have a draft, that they're going to see their sons get in and daughters get involved in this. What do you want to say about the president's plans for troops on the ground? As we know, it's been largely an air campaign up until now.
It has been, and it will continue to be, and President Trump wisely does not remove options off of the table. I know a lot of politicians like to do that quickly, but the president, as commander-in-chief, wants to continue to assess the success of this military operation. It's not part of the current plan right now, but the president, again, wisely keeps his options on the table. But as commander-in-chief, there's no greater priority or responsibility to this president than, of course, protecting the American people and protecting our troops and our bases in the Middle East, which Iran has been threatening for 47 years. They have...
Imagine you're someone who signed up to be a part of the U.S. military after Trump was elected because he ran on no new wars. So you think, oh, I can just sign up for the military. It's going to be pretty easy. I can do my few years, get all the benefits. There's not going to be any new wars because that's what he ran on. He ran on ending all of the madness. He wasn't going to start anything. No regime change, wars. Imagine. And now you're about to go boots on the ground in Iran. You have no idea how difficult this terrain is going to be. This is going to be Vietnam on steroids. They have been gearing up for over 30 years for an invasion. They've been waiting for someone stupid enough to invade this mountainous, rocky country. And they found their guy stupid enough to send troops. But I also imagine if you signed up after he was elected, that you are a Trump supporter, that you voted for this, that you wanted this in one way or another. If you were duped into thinking he was actually against war and not for absolute tyranny on the world, then thoughts and tariffs to you as you go there vertically and come back horizontally.
You know, until this point, I think it's right to say that Mr. Donald Trump is a lunatic. Yeah. Danny the boy is really getting out of hand. And what he's about to do next will make all Americans regret choosing Donald Trump. Because tell me why. You know very well that you are sending American children into a bloodbath. You know what you're doing. Trump has escalated the Iran war, sending them to the Strait of Hormuz, 5,000 troops as per now have been deployed. Some 2,500 has also been deployed as of today, as we are speaking. Trump is escalating war with Iran, and they know very well. The leader of Iran said in an interview that, you know what, if you want to get some, come and get some. To add on top of that, if you saw the clip of those soldiers, how they were so agitated, those Iranian soldiers, how they were so agitated, and how they were saying, I promise you, if Mr. Donald Trump sends American soldiers to put the boots on the ground, that's how they said, in Iran, be rest assured that they will be battered in Iran. So my question is, why is America doing this? Why is America doing this to its own citizens, to its own children, born, raised in America, American citizens? Why is the US so obsessed with this war? I mean, what's in for them to benefit from? I can tell you as a matter of fact, if you can remember those people that had families, I tried to look back the documentary of between US and Iran war, and what I saw is that on the documentary, majority of the people came out and started explaining how they lost their families, how they lost their friends, how they lost people that really mattered to them. And yet again today, the year 2026, Trump is replicating the same. I mean, how crazy it is. Trump is sending his own citizens into a trap. Because the way I've seen the Iranian soldiers declare this, let me tell you, it's going to be bad for American citizens, for American soldiers. I'm not saying that American soldiers don't have political might, but what we are seeing right now, what the world is observing right now, we are yet to observe a bloodbath of American soldiers like everywhere. Brothers and sisters, I want you to watch this video. Definitely, we have some concepts that we have to talk about, and who those people that are benefiting from all these fights that are going on right now, because we have people, even in the church, that are benefiting from this war. So, brothers and sisters, I'm your presenter and host, Eugene Doc Stories. So I want us to watch this video, and then I'm gonna be back. I'll be sharing my 2 cents in regards to this. I'll be back.
Take it from an army brat when I say there is no such thing as returning from war. Both of my parents are 100% permanently disabled Army veterans. You know, my mom got out sooner than my dad did, but ended up with the same result. You know? A lifetime of disability. Some of our sponsors, they come back animated, intact. But most of them, they're broken. You know, their hearts, their minds, their spirits, crushed, crippled. Because that's what conflict does to humans. And there is no amount of money, no amount of pension they can pay these veterans, no amount of care they can offer through the VA health system to fix the things they break when they send other people's people to wars they insist we wage, because they will not send their own. They will not send their sons and daughters, their nieces and nephews, their mothers and fathers, their brothers and their sisters. They don't. They send ours. The poor, the marginalized, the disenfranchised, you know? Who who are enlisting in hopes that they can build a foundation upon which their children and grandchildren can continue to build on top of, because this country gives them no other choice. You know? And this time, on the words of a draft dodger, a man who could not be bothered to serve his country when it called for him. No, that's only for us, right? I just watched them snap a Marine's arm in half. Yeah, because he dared to stand up and say, we do not want to send our sons and daughters into this unnecessary conflict. You know? They snapped his arm in half in the jam of a door because they would rather take him out of that hall in pieces than let him speak. I watched my father leave, come back, leave, come back, leave, come back. Intact each time, but a little different. Until one day he was completely unrecognizable. You know, and I do not blame him for some of this, some of what he has to carry, because it is men like this, men like Trump, men like Hegseth, who sent him into conflict and broke him. And he cannot be a good father to his children. He cannot be a present grandfather to my sons or my nephews. You know? And no one talks about us. No one thinks about us, the families that are destroyed. Because we cannot imagine a world in which we don't reign supreme, we do not exercise unchecked dominion. The same words that were being preached in pulpits throughout my childhood. Every time men like these wanted to send my people into conflicts for other similarly bloodthirsty nations, quoting at me Revelation and Daniel and the like. Because they do not serve a God of love, a God of peace. They serve a God of war, a God of violence. Hell, the violence itself is proof that God exists. You know, it is his primary way that he makes himself known in the midst of his people, strikes awe in the hearts of his enemies. You know? This is not a distraction. This is what they've always wanted. They've been brainwashing people in pulpits, on TV screens, for decades, because this is what they wanted. I got a call, because I still have to go to work, you know? But this is what they wanted. To pull Armageddon down from heaven onto earth, because they believe themselves to be anointed as kings and priests of this earth. Hell will never be hot enough for these people. Get him out of there.
You know what really gets to me is that America is sending their sons and daughters out to fight and possibly be killed. Yet Benjamin Netanyahu's son is sunning himself on a beach in Miami and Baron Trump is hiding under a rock somewhere. So neither of these two men that are willing to start World War III are willing to send their own sons. Yet Americans are expected to send their sons and daughters to a war that does not need to happen. They're not defending America. They're helping Israel to create greater Israel. Donald Trump is not making sense anymore. Nothing he says or does makes sense, and he's just distracting away from the files. We should be looking at that, but instead, he's metering down all of these bombs on innocent civilians, on schools, on hospitals. And he's sending their kids, the American kids, out to die. And yet you send them. You send them to die. Make it make sense.
Disturbing news about Donald Trump's war with Iran. All signs point to the U.S. deploying troops to Iranian soil, putting boots on the ground sooner rather than later. A U.S. senator just got out of a briefing on the war and told reporters that it looks very likely troops will be deployed soon. Take a look at what he had to say.
I emerged from this briefing as dissatisfied and angry, frankly, as I have from any past briefing in my 15 years in the Senate. I am left with more questions than answers, especially about the cost of the war. My questions have been unanswered, and I will demand answers because the American people deserve to know. And I guess I am most concerned about the threat to American lives of potentially deploying our sons and daughters on the ground in Iran. We seem to be on a path toward deploying American troops on the ground in Iran to accomplish any of the potential objectives here. And there is also, as disturbingly as anything else, the specter of active Russian aid to Iran, putting in danger American lives. Literally, Russia seems to be aiding our enemy actively and intensively with intelligence and perhaps with other means, and China also may be assisting Iran. So the American people deserve to know much more than this administration has told them about the cost of the war, the danger to our sons and daughters in uniform, and the potential for further escalation and widening of this war, a war of choice.
It's painfully obvious that this is going to drag on into a longer and more deadly war. Donald Trump is completely backed into a corner here. There are no clear objectives for this war. Anything that he said was the goal has not been accomplished, whether it's changing the Iranian regime, that didn't happen. We haven't taken their oil. And if we're trying to get rid of their nuke supplies, well, we already destroyed them last summer apparently, but now we need to send in special forces to take their enriched uranium apparently. So it's a complete disaster, and a lot of people will lose their lives, and a lot of tax dollars will be spent on this as well.
Does anybody else find it just a little disturbing at how happy and how excited the Christian conservatives are that we are in a war with Iran? I have never seen so many people so happy that we are dropping bombs on another nation. Now, to be clear, I am not in favor of an Islamic state, nor am I a fan of the Iranian government. But I'm also not a fan of sending our young men and our young women off to another war in the Middle East to die for a bunch of rich billionaires. I saw Senator Lindsey Graham on Fox News, and he was just so elated with the fact that we're bombing Iran and we're going to be going in and taking out Cuba next, and he is so happy. And he made some comment about Trump being the greatest president ever, and we're going throughout the world and we're taking out all of the bad guys. I don't know if anybody has informed Lindsey Graham, but the bad guys are in the administration. The bad guys are the president. You know, the ones who are covering up for pedophiles, the ones who are in the Jeffrey Epstein files. These are the bad guys. But yet he's trying to convince everybody that we're taking out all of the bad guys. Now, the people in Iran, the government of Iran, that might be true. They are the bad guys. But we shouldn't be involved in nation building. We can't even take care of our people here at home. We can't bring down the cost of living for the American citizens. We can't lower healthcare costs. We can't lower education costs. We can't lower grocery prices, rent, or housing prices. It's absolutely insane, but we have billions and billions of dollars to go drop bombs on another country, another war in the Middle East. How much longer do we have to continue to try to push democracy onto these other countries at the end of a gun? It's ridiculous that we continuously do these things. But now everybody's excited because this is a religious war. They're going to bring back Jesus. They're going to bring on Armageddon. You see how ridiculous that sounds? So here's a question for you then. If after you guys go in there and you bomb Iran, and this is all said and done, and Jesus doesn't return, will you fuckers just go away? Just go away. But here we are, in the year 2026, fighting a religious war for people's superstitious beliefs and their superstitious religious text and their superstitious gods. But yeah, we're civilized, right? We're supposed to be a civilized society, but yet we're still fighting religious wars over a God that cannot even be proven that exists. But yet they'll take us to war. They will kill innocent people, drop bombs indiscriminately, and yet the religious people will cheer it on. Even though they're the ones that are supposed to be peaceful. They're the ones that are supposed to be all about taking care of the sick, taking care of the tired, the homeless, the elderly, the widows. But yet, with their actions, they are making people sick. They are making people widows. They are killing and bombing children in the name of God, and the religious right are cheering it on. You people are the most hypocritical, disgusting, and vile people on the face of the planet. Religion is a scourge, always has been, always will be, and it just keeps dragging us back to the Dark Ages. We are supposed to be advancing as a species, as a people. But as long as these religious zealots keep getting control and keep getting power of our leaders and our military, there will never be peace, because there is no love like the love of the religious fanatics. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. This is Grim with Get the Rant, and I'll see you all in the next video. And hopefully this thing will start de-escalating soon, but doesn't look that way.
As Trump deploys more U.S. teenagers into the Middle East for war with Iran, and as gas prices soar through the roof, this is Trump today playing golf at his resort with his billionaire friends. He doesn't care about you, your wallet, or our troops. He only cares about himself.
So it turns out that internally the Trump administration and the US military is only able to explain why they're doing what they're doing in Iran using religious psychosis. Golly gosh, I wish I was joking. A US military watchdog for quote-unquote religious freedom has allegedly received a slew of widespread reports about commanders talking about how Trump was anointed by Jesus to bring Armageddon to Iran so that Jesus can come back. They launched a preemptive strike on Iran, setting off a regional conflict that has so far taken the lives of over 1,000 civilians and 6 US service members. The Secretary of State quite literally admitted that they were forced into doing so by Israel. The only way they are able to justify it to the American troops who are expected to fight and lose their lives for this farce of a conflict is saying that Trump was anointed by Christ to go to war with Iran. Our commanders are repeatedly referring to the Bible's book of Revelations and to Armageddon and to God's divine plan to justify why they're doing what they're doing. Brother, are we dead ass right now? The United States will say with its full chest that Iran is an authoritarian theocracy that can never be trusted with nuclear weapons. And this will be the United States. And I guess I'm happy to see that there are at least complaints about the Warhammer 40Kification of the US military. Like, clearly there's a divide here. I would be more concerned if there were no complaints about this. Imagine complaining about Iranian theocracy, but you and your goons have lost the plot so badly that the only way for your foreign policy and your foreign war to make sense to your own army is to convert them to Christian fascism. The only way for this war to make sense from a foreign policy perspective is for you to join our cult. Yes, this is what happens when the guy you put in charge of the Pentagon only gets his job because he cosplays as a 1950s sitcom dad and said nice things about you in a book that he wrote a few years ago. Because what is this? It's my opinion, follow for more.
Yeah. America is right now where it is today because we have a group of people that support and really want this war to go on. Probably somebody is advising Mr. Donald Trump that there's something in stake for him or something for him to benefit. But my only question is it worth it? Is it worth it for you as an American citizen? You send your husband, maybe your wife, maybe your kid. Like, I know, like you really wanna, maybe the economy is tough and you wanna send your kid or you wanna leave your husband to go. I think this is not the right time to do that. Because I'm getting to understand that Mr. Donald Trump, with whoever, Petesgate or Rubio, whatever, what they're advising Mr. Donald Trump or what Mr. Donald Trump is deciding is really not good for American citizens. It's really not good for American citizens because people are yet to lose their families. The devastation that will come, because even the media itself is lying about the numbers of, American troops that has already gone. It's just that people are now coming out saying how they're not in communication with their family. Somebody's not in communication with their kids. Somebody's not in communication with their parent since the war started. But the mainstream media honestly won't tell you that. They will lie to you because they don't want you to know the truth. But hey, look, you as an American citizen who is watching this video, you probably have a brother, you probably have a cousin, you probably have a parent, you probably have a father, you probably have a friend that is yet to be drafted into this. I'm kindly asking you, because I saw the documentary back in 2000 of Iraq versus the United States. And those people that were coming who agreed on the interview, to be interviewed, they were so traumatized, they were so depressed. And even the ones that came back at the end of it all, it wasn't a good move for America. And now this is Iran. And the year is the year 2026. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that the Americans' military might cannot be matched with that of Iran. But you all, there is nothing as bad as getting into a battlefield with a person or with a group of people that has nothing to lose. Remember, the United States first did something to their leaders, went ahead, did something with the son of the leader. So this group of people have nothing to lose. But America has something to lose because Mr. Donald Trump is sending the kids of the United States. These people literally comes from families. These people literally have hands to feed. They are the breadwinners of these families. And so you understand the devastating effect that this has towards the American citizens. So my only question is, you as the person who is watching this video, what have you done? Or what are you doing to advise your kid, to advise your father, to advise your mother, probably your aunt, probably your friend? Feel me? What are you advising these people to do? Because right now, I can confirm to you that Trump is a lunatic. Trump is like upward challenged. Right now, the decision that he's making is not the president of the United States. It's just somebody that some racist folks decided to choose because they thought this person is going to be bringing, changes in the United States. Hey, I'm not trying to exaggerate this, honestly. And the reason as to why, and it was a coincidence that I was watching the documentary like yesterday daytime. That was date 13. Today's date 14. Like right now I'm talking to you. And as you can see, Trump has now decided that he's going to be deploying troops in Iran. We all know that this war Trump is not winning. We have been told, we have been warned, America has been warned that Trump is not winning this war. So I really don't know what really we are waiting for. It is time for you Americans to put a stop in this. To put a stop in this, maybe by having a petition that we are not joining this war. Maybe go on X, appeal to the Iranians that we don't support this. Please, we don't support this. This is not our fight. This is not what we're doing. We want to save our American kids. It might look like being cowardice or anything like that, but look, it's not worth it. It's not worth it going to die a death that doesn't even help America. Maybe if it was a death that serves the United States, it doesn't serve the United States. It only serves Israel. The death of American kids will only serve Israel because Israel has something in stake for what is happening in Iranians. But the US is getting involved in it. And I really don't know. Honestly, I really don't know what to say about this. Please let me know what you think about this video, right? I'm your host and presenter Tech Stories, and until then, I'm hoping to see you on my next video. But until then, peace, love, and harmony. Salute.